Hello, this is Erin with the Joy in Pens and Paper, and happy December 2024. We are wrapping up this year, and I am certainly looking forward to 2025 and just another year in this journey. So, today is a December currently inked, as you saw by the title, and likely the reason why you clicked on this video. I have been doing the last few months a exercise where I am posting some options for people to vote on. Just realizing I got to cover part of that. There we go. Okay. And I've had some people participate in that, and I wanted to show kind of what the behind the scenes of that looks like, so that people can see that I am actually hearing your choices, I'm noting your choices, and I'm choosing your choices. So here is kind of how I set it up. So I made a list at the start of November, and I compiled this over a series of a few days where I just flipped through my swatch book and pulled out some inks that I thought really matched December and kind of what my feeling is for December. Then I did a little swatch right here and used these swatches. Let me just, I guess, move that to, there's a little sneak, to create the order in which I did the full swatch page. Now, as people commented and selected their choices, I wrote down their names and then I shaded in which one that they chose so I could see the number of people. So for example, 5 people chose vintage copper, almost every single person. 4 chose Tesla coil. 3 chose Diamine Storm. 3 chose, oh, I made an error there. That's fine. 3 chose Stargazer. I thought it was Winter Spice. But anywho, I'm not perfect. Never will claim to be. So then that leads me to my oh, and here's the full page of swatches. Yep, I might regret that, but that's fine. Okay. Now, sorry for all those crinkles. Do I want to do it here or do I want to do it? Yeah, I think I'm going to do it here. I need this. All right, so let's swatch out the December pen and ink pairing. So the first one, I'm pulling this back from November. This is the Narwhal. It is a Nautilus, which you can tell by the little portholes right here. And this is a Christmas 2023 pen. At the start of 2024, this went on a really good sale. I think I got this for $70 or $77. But yeah, it was a nice little addition to my collection. I wonder, I haven't checked, but I wonder if they've announced their 2024 pen, their Christmas 2024 pen. And this does have a medium nib, so that's why I put a shimmer ink in here. I did get together with a few fellow YouTubers, fellow fountain pen enthusiasts that live local to me, and one of them clarified for me that even though this is spelled and how I would pronounce this phonetically is noveler, it's actually pronounced narwhal. So I'm going to shift that for myself. and start saying it correctly. So this is inked up with Diamine Ink Vent, the 2021 version Storm. So it's a really nice blue, and then it has some shimmer. Next up is one of my newest pens that I got on Fountain Pen Day. This is the Stilo and Steel Radius collaboration. It's a limited edition. It is the Settimo model with a resin called Desiderium. So I've had this inked up with just a little bit of a tester ink, and I've been using it to take some notes while I'm working on my dissertation, and I really love how this nib flows on the page. It's a little buttery. And this is an extra fine nib, so the fact that it's buttery is pretty awesome. This is inked up with Birmingham Pen Company Tesla Coil. So this is a really lovely blue, kind of a royal blue with a good amount of red sheen. Thankfully and I will, if you stick around towards the end of the video, I have a number of other papers that I have swatched these pens and inks on that I will show for comparison. And what I'm seeing is so far in the writing, because this is the first time I've inked up this ink in a pen, I'm not seeing an overwhelming amount of sheen. So this is a Leonardo Momento Zero in jade, and this has a fine nib. This is another pen that I got on Fountain Pen Day. I went a little ham, but I had saved up for an entire year and had been with refraining from I'm so inky, refraining from making many pen or ink purchases this year because I wanted to be able to snag a couple of things on Fountain Pen Day. So this is one of the other pens. I did do a video with this, but just because I have it handy, I did want to show this next to an Esterbrook SD and C glass. I was a little nervous that they would be very close in color, but in fact, in person, they are quite different. That cracked resin is very different between these two colorways. All right, next up, and apologies to those of you that selected Stargazer. I 100% made an error. However, as I've had this inked up this morning and have been going through and writing on all the different papers, I'm really excited to be using this ink. So, and obviously it was one of the ones that I had selected as an option. So there will be times that even with the highest votes on the day that I do my inking up for currently inked, I may make another choice. This is also from the 2021 Ink Vent. So you will see that I have a Diamine Ink Vent calendar this year. The last time that I had it was in 2021. So the majority of my Diamine inks actually came from that calendar, and I did purchase some full bottles of some of them. So Anywho, going back to, I do have the 2024 Black Edition Diamine Ink Vent calendar. That video will also come out today. Sorry for 2 in 1 day, but it is what it is. And I also want to put a plug in for Zen of the Pen. He just got the Colorverse Ink Vent calendar. And so he and I are really excited to share our unveilings each day with each other. So feel free to check him out. I will link him in this video. He's very, very, very knowledgeable. I enjoy this hobby for the artistic and calming features, and I think he really leans into the more technical features, which I appreciate. He was the one that gave me the clarification on the pronunciation of Noveler really being narwhal. So this is a Ferris wheel press brush pen. This is the kind of original version of higher end fountain pens for Ferris wheel press. They now have the Bijou and the Jewel. And I think the Bijou and the Jewel are considered full-size fountain pens versus this is a very thin fountain pen. I love this pen. I love how it writes. It's very, very smooth. I do have the gold-plated version of the Ferris wheel press brush pen, and I find that the steel nib writes better. So this is now, I guess, a antique. Perhaps it's a you can't get it anymore. So this is also the Diamine Ink Vent calendar, and this is antique. Nope, not antique. Vintage copper. I knew I was going to make that mistake, which is a beautiful burnt orangey red with shimmer. This pen has not always done wonderful with shimmer inks. However, it's been the Ferris wheel press shimmer inks that it has not behaved well with. So I will check out how it does with this as the month goes on, specifically when there's a few days between using it. All right, so I'm going to move this aside and take out some of my other papers that I have pre-swatched on. So the first one, I'm just going to slide this in. This is the Cosmo Air Light in a Galen Everyday notebook. And just looking kind of side to side, the inks actually look fairly similar. One thing I will say is specifically for Storm and Vintage Copper, there's almost a muted, like a muted lean for both of those. In my experience with Cosmo Air Light paper, the way that the ink sits on the page, it almost spreads out a little bit. So you get a smoother presentation, and as opposed to some other papers where you're seeing each of the pen strokes. All right, next up, I have Clairefontaine Rhodia paper. So this is a very stark white paper. And looking quickly side to side, the colors look very similar. In my opinion, it seems like you can definitely see the brush strokes more on the Rhodia paper than you can on the Tomoe River paper. And then the Tesla Coil and Holly should both have sheens, but what I'm noticing is, and the Winter Spice, what I've been noticing as I do my 3 inks videos is the sheen does not necessarily show up as well on the Rhodia paper. Next up is Life Bank paper. And so this one, you can go ahead and see that that sheen pretty much right away, specifically on the Tesla coil, a little bit on holly, not really on winter spice. Maybe I'm wrong on that. There's not really a sheen. But other than that, the colors look pretty comparable. And then this is Tomoe River paper. This is Galen Leather Co. Everyday Notebook. But I did also do a swatch in the Hobonichi Cousin. This is the 2024 Hobonichi Cousin. The swatches are a little bit smaller just because the grid size is smaller, and I was using that. But you can absolutely see the beautiful red sheen in Tesla coil. You can see a little bit actually in the writing more so than the swatch for holly. And again, I'm not necessarily seeing a sheen on winter spice, but those look beautiful, and I'm so excited to really lean into these more gem tone colors for December. And again, check out my daily ink vent videos that will be coming out. Oh, that's a good amount of ink right there. And check out Zen of the Pen for the Colorverse ink vent daily swatches. I am sure there are plenty of other YouTubers out there, but I know what I'm doing and I know what he's doing. So I will certainly put a plug in for that. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully you don't get too inundated with my content this month. I'm just so excited to have this Diamine Inkvent calendar now that I have a YouTube channel. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much. If you stuck around to the end, I appreciate that. And I will see you in the next one. Bye. I did forget something, so I'm going to go ahead and pop back on. I had somebody last month who questioned my black and gray ink. So I do have the Sailor Pro Gear in white and rose gold with a 21 karat gold fine nibs. This is a very, very fine line. And this has inked up in it. See how fine that is? You've got the glorious sailor feedback. So this is a Sailor Pro Gear, white and rose gold with a fine nib. And this has Diatramentis, document ink, black. And I love, 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 love having a black ink in this and having this be an everyday pen for me. Oops, sorry that I just bopped the camera. And I'm actually very intrigued. I tried inking this pen up with Noodler's Heart of Darkness just because I have a very large bottle with a lot left in it. And on 2 occasions, I opened up the pen and all of the ink had spilled out into the cap. I did not experience that with Birmingham Pen Company Blast Furnace. And so far, I have not experienced that with Diatramentis. So I might need to discard that bottle of ink, which just pains me, but is what it is. And then for my gray ink, this, oh, you know what? I'm just realizing. Oh, what is that? Okay. I was second guessing what ink is in here. So this is an Opus 88, which is a dropper fill, and it can hold a lot of ink. And this is the Halo Blue with an extra fine nib. I got this at Yoseka Stationery in Brooklyn in March of 2024. And this is inked up with Pelikan, Edelstein, moonstone. So this to me looks a lot like a pencil. I am very neurotic with our budget, and I check it every single day, if not multiple times a day, and I write down all of our purchases as a way of just really monitoring where we are allocating money to and making sure that we can hit all of the goals that we have. So I use the Opus 88 for that budgeting reconciliation, and it's really lovely to flip back through those pages and see what looks like a pencil, but know that it is actually an ink. So, all right, now this is the end. Thank you so much if you stuck around for this little whoopsie. And as I said before, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.